We're Waste Bros, and this is our project. We decided to do a environmental disposal company, and we're building a database in order to help bring the waste disposal industry into a more data-driven future, because one of our group members was working in the industry for some time and noticed that there's a lot of redundant paperwork. There's a lot of calculations and predictions that can be done with the data, but none of it is really available in an easy-to-use database. So we're hoping to show and demonstrate technologies that can help bring this sort of information into a database that will allow other companies to operate more efficiently. Here's our ER diagram, and I'm going to give a quick overview of what some of these different entities represent. Waste code and sub-waste code are a representation of the different types of waste that are out there, whereas profile is really a description of what waste a generator is sending to us. So a generator such as Amazon could be generating cardboard waste, could be generating recalled products type waste, and then each of those different types of products would be represented with a profile. Whereas an inbound is a representation of material that is coming into our potential facility. And from inbound, we then have a revenue table that describes the amount of money we made from there, whereas we have an employee and a vehicle relation that describe who's going out and picking up this waste material and then bringing it back to our facility for further treatment and or disposal.
So this is our relational diagram mapping from our ER diagram, and some of the important things I want to point out is we joined the inbound table with a revenue table because it's a one-to-one total participation, and that would reduce redundancies and quickly calculate the cost and the amount. For location and sub-waste code, it's the same thing. We want to add these two tables to reduce redundancies because one generator can have multiple location, and having that address in the generator would create more storage amount.
Trying to create a profile. This is the new generator entry form. Here we can enter a new ID, University Washington Tacoma, and then name. And then we can submit this query. And then we can see that it was successfully inserted, and then we can go back. Here we can enter a new location into the database. We have to then select the generator that this location will be tied to. Ooh, there's a good location right there. And then we were trying to create the university generator. And then we submit the query, and we can see that it was successfully inserted. And then we move on to profile. Then we can select a waste type. And then we have to find the address that we just recently submitted, and then we have to put in an expected weight that this material will come in at. And then we can see that we completed this profile.
Insert new order is still a work in progress because it isn't performing the calculations correctly. And we would need to make several modifications to the database, and that isn't the route we wish to take at this point. The employment order or employee order lookup seems to be working. And again, what it does is it allows you to use the drop-down menu to display different results mapped to different employees. So if you look here, if I click on the button, and I select an employee, it will display, after you click the submit button, display the results in a different window here. The bottom portion of our page has 4 buttons that perform simple select queries that link to another page that shows the results of the query. So if you look here, you click on the button and you get a result table with whatever the summary is about.
One of the features that we're really happy that we got to add is a lookup feature. Currently, we have a container hosted on Code Anywhere that allows us to look up information. And here I will demonstrate looking information through the URL, but in real life, this is something that could be represented through having a QR code attached to a waste container that you can scan. It would fill out a URL on your Safari or whatever, and then you could grab information from that URL when you connect to this database, and then it would display information. So here I was able to pull up an Amazon database, and we actually did make a QR code for this. So assuming that the Code Anywhere container is being currently hosted, you could scan this QR code and it would link you to this URL up here, which would then pull up this information from our database. This is separate from our XAMPP implementation because we weren't able to host